the best anti-inflammatory diet for menopause. I am your host, one of your hosts, Nurse Maria, along with Dr. Khan, and we'll be tackling the high points of this topic. And welcome to the Healthy Reset. This is a place where we can open up and talk about all things menopause, because here is a place where menopause matters. But I want to put you onto a little scenario here. I want to introduce you to Carla. Let's call it Carla's flare-up. Now it's about 2:08 in the AM. Carla jolts and wakes up. Her heart's racing. Her skin is on fire. She tosses the cover drenched. Her knees throbbing. Her wrists ache like she's been hauling buckets of water. She's not sick. She's not broken. She's 51 years. And this is menopause. What she had for dinner. Let's look at that. A perfectly normal night. She had lasagna. She had a soda. And then she had some dessert. What she didn't know is that meal was pure fuel for inflammation. And it's that invisible fire, which is what we call the inflammation, that's stealing her sleep, stiffening her joints, wrecking her mood. But here's the twist, here's the plot. The right food can put out the fire. So I want to say again, welcome to the Healthy Reset. Everything menopause here matters. Today we are unlocking something I wish that I had known. And I want to introduce other women to it. I wish that every woman knew this in her 40s and her 50s and even in her 60s, because we know knowledge is power. How an anti-inflammatory diet can calm your symptoms and protect your future. What you learn tonight is the root cause of those random aches and mood dips, how food fuels and fights inflammation, and the eating style that's changing women's lives, mine included, without counting calories or any type of chaos. Ready to reset your body naturally, ladies, and even gentlemen. So we always hear this word inflammation. I just want to give a little definition of inflammation. Inflammation, generally, which is the general term, is our body's response to an illness, to an injury, or something that doesn't belong in our bodies, like germs or toxic chemicals. Inflammation is a normal and important process that allows the body to heal. For example, fever is how you know that your body's inflammatory response is working correctly. When you're ill, but inflammation can harm you if it occurs in healthy tissues or goes on too long. So that means, I just want to basically say there are two types of inflammation. There is the acute, like the one we are talking about, you know, an injury or something abnormal happened and your body responds to it. And there is the chronic, when there's no particular reason and your body is in the inflammatory mode. And that is where what we are dealing with tonight. So let's break it down. What happens when estrogen declines? When estrogen declines, your blood vessels stiffen, blood sugar swings faster, mood regulation falters, our joints get inflamed, cortisol, which is the stress hormone, it creeps up. So in short, your body loses its anti-inflammatory protection. And this leads to weight gain, particularly around the tummy, around the belly, anxiety and brain fog, waking up sore, high blood pressure, insulin resistance. But food is information, and the right foods can literally tell your body to turn down the fire. So let's look at what happens here. Let's call it the blood sugar battle. So I want to introduce to you a kitchen setup with 2 breakfast meals, and we'll compare them. Now, meal 1 is a store-bought muffin, sweetened coffee, and healthy granola bar. Meal 2, overnight oats, chia, flaxseed with some cinnamon, berries, whichever type you like, whether it's strawberry, blueberries, if you could get your hand on the blackberries and so on, plus sweetened, or not, I wouldn't say sweetened, unsweetened almond milk. So meal 1, what does it cause? A sugar, what we call a sugar surge, inflammation, and then you crash. Meal 2, which is basically fiber, omega-3, plus antioxidants, causes the body to be stable. In conclusion, stable blood sugar equals less mood swings, fewer hot flashes, and a better night's sleep. So how do we build this fire fighting plate? Let's cook an anti-inflammatory lunch bowl. So we'll make the base of this lunch bowl quinoa, which is by itself fiber, plus it's a complete protein. We'll then put some kale or arugula, right? Put that on the top there, which is calcium and magnesium. Then we'll go on to have some protein. For example, wild salmon, chicken breast, etc., rich in omega-3s. We want to put some healthy fats. Either we add some avocado plus olive oil or either or. And the topping, we want to top it with some garlic, turmeric, lemon, and flaxseed. Now, this is a 5-in-1 plate. What are the benefits of a 5-in-1 plate like this? Anti-inflammatory foods. All the foods basically here, all are anti-inflammatory. What does it do for our bodies? 1, it's gut friendly, bone supporting, blood stabilizing, hormone balancing, anti-cancer properties. Now remember, we spoke about the Mediterranean diet, and I want to ask Dr. Khan to come back on. I have a question for him. The Mediterranean and plant-based diets are both recommended here. What are the key differences between the two, and how can someone decide which one of these diets is right for them during menopause?
Hey everyone, good evening. So let's get into, so Maria mentioned, everybody hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you are. Give me a thumbs up. Or you can give me a proverbial thumbs up. Anywho, so what is the difference between the Mediterranean diet and a whole food plant-based diet? And the last one we wanted to throw in there, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one, the Galveston diet, right? So let's go into what these 3 are. So the first one, the Mediterranean diet. Everybody's heard of the Mediterranean diet, right? It's so popular. It's all over the place. You talk about it all the time. Everybody's talking about Mediterranean diet. So basically, what a Mediterranean diet is, it's a balance between, it's supposed to be balanced and flexible, right? That's one of the pros about it. Right, so there's 3 major things about it that's important. and includes a wide variety of food, which includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, olive oil, nuts, fish, and at the end of it, moderate wine. And I don't know if everybody here likes that, but who doesn't like a glass of wine every once in a while? Right? No, that's if you drink wine. And it is backed by a lot of very strong research. The Mediterranean diet has been studied for many, many, many years, right? And it's been linked to, there's a specific version of it called the POP diet, which gets a little bit more specific, right? And it's been linked to reducing inflammation, improving heart health, improving cognitive benefits, and longevity. Yes, the Mediterranean diet has been shown to improve the length of life you live when you're on it. Another benefit of the Mediterranean diet is it's rich in omega-3s, fatty acids, and on antioxidants. Now, this diet came, as the name suggests, from the Mediterranean. It's what the Greeks and all the Italians were using for thousands of years, right? And it does incorporate a little bit of fasting, intermittent fasting, as part of it, but there's much more to the diet than just that. It can include things like animal products, right? Which is fish, dairy, and occasional meat. And remember at the beginning, I said fish was a part of that diet, but it might not align with a lot of vegan diets, right? And it represents moderate carbs and fats, right? What does that mean? It might require adjustments to the amount of carbs and fats you eat throughout the day. And so it's a little stricter on anti-inflammatory and weight loss products than the other programs might be, right? So that's the Mediterranean diet. Now, we've all heard about the vegetarian or the whole food plant-based diet, right? FPB for short, right? This is basically the vegan diet where the meats are not involved, and it's high in fiber, high in phytoestrogens, and it helps balance estrogen levels and support gut health. And it's excellent for menopause, right? It's also great for anti-inflammatory and heart-friendly and it's heart friendly. Now, last week we talked about the anti-inflammatory effects. Why having an anti-inflammatory diet is important for menopause, right? And if you want to go back, you can always go back on YouTube and watch that episode on a healthy reset. But it helps, but it focuses on unprocessed plants, legumes, and whole grains and seeds. So you're talking about whole salads, not a lot of processing at all. You're not talking so much about the smoothies as much, but because smoothies, if you don't know, anything that you do to food is considered to be a process, right? So if you put it in a blender, it's a process. If you fry an egg, it's a process. So that's what they mean by processing, right? I know that's a lot of unpacking there. But this focuses on more whole foods, so getting your salads together, even cutting up fruits is considered a process, but you're not changing the structure of the food as much. Blending it is changing the structure, so that's considered a more intense process, right? So it focuses on more processed foods, and it promotes a healthier weight and energy, right? What does that mean? What's your optimal weight for your age? Right? And everybody's a little different, right? So it looks to naturally lower in calorie density and make you eat less calories throughout the day, but you're not counting calories, right? What is important about is that you may need to add B12 and D supplements because you're not getting it from the meat anymore because it's mostly a vegan diet. Since there's no animal products being included in the nutrient value, right? So when you go vegan, you do have to supplement your diet with other things that are not readily available through plants, right? And it requires intentional planning. So it can be a little bit more overwhelming if you're a busy person, you have all the things in your life are happening. You have to put some effort into planning out your meals and making sure everything is set up for you to go, right? So it's especially added, but so the intentional planning is important because you have to intentionally add extra proteins iron, as I mentioned, the vitamins B12 and 6, and you have to add your omega-3 fatty acids to it. So you have to intentionally add things like olives and so on to the diet. Now, the third one we mentioned is, I hope everybody's keeping up with me so far. It's a lot, but we're trying to go through it as simply as possible, right? Is the Galveston diet. And this one is specifically designed for perimenopausal and menopausal women, right? Now, I bet you didn't even know you had a diet that's designed just for you, right? But that's how the nutritionists are. They're very specific. And although this is not a huge topic, there are some things out there that have been focused on menopausal, perimenopausal women. The Galveston diet, right? It focuses on inflammation and hormonal balance, right? This combines anti-inflammatory principles with intermittent fasting and low-carb eating. Now, everybody gets scared about low-carb eating, but it's not as scary as it seems. It supports fat loss and energy stability, which means it tries to maintain that energy throughout the day so you don't feel like you're going to crash and burn at some point in time in the day. And it's a structured protocol. So it's good for those who want clear rules and timelines. Now, if you're like me, you don't like rules and timelines, right? And then you want to try to fit timelines in there, and you're like, oh my God. So you see, this one is another one that has a lot of planning involved in it. Considerations about this diet, it's a low-carb diet. So there's less plant diversity, right? And it may reduce the fiber and beneficial phytonutrients unless you're not adding it and carefully managing it. So you see, each diet has their pros and their cons, and it can be fairly restrictive for some people, right? Some people might be able to stick to that structured approach and putting these things in timelines and saying, okay, I'm going to do this and this, right? But it's not always as flexible for persons like who work shift work or who just don't like following rules, right? So bottom line is, each one of them has their pros and they have their cons, right? The Mediterranean diet is great for long-term health, heart and brain support, but you have to watch out for it's because it's not strict enough, and you have to have a very specific weight goals and set goals that you're going for. So you have to plan ahead. The WFPB, which is a vegan diet, it's great for hormone balance, gut health, and chronic inflammation. So those arthritic joints and so on. But you have to supplement with nutrients, and it's a little bit more rigid than the others. And the Galveston is great for menopause, as mentioned, but it focuses on fat loss and insulin balance. So if you're diabetic, it's great for that. But it has a lower plant variety and is more restrictive. So these are 3 forms of diets you can look into that, as what Maria was talking about earlier. So Maria, I'll hand it back over to you and we'll keep on going.
Here you go. Could you put it on the screen for them to get a screenshot of the 3 of them so that
Yes, give me a moment.
yes, yeah, it's 3 types of diets.
One sec, ladies. I'm just gonna put it on a document so I can show it to you. Gotta do some. All right, I'm gonna share my screen now and show you. So these are the 3 diets, and I just quickly put it in a Word document so you can take a quick look at it. All right, as you can see, Mediterranean, WFPB, the vegan diet. I'm going to put in right in the bracket here.
So folks, what I want you all to do is to take a screenshot of the 3 of them And I want to put a challenge out to you all.
Yeah.
Let me know when you all had take this screenshot, and I'll give you a challenge to try, a little nudge to try one of them, because either of these would be helpful in reducing inflammation. And as was explained, you choose one that may be most beneficial for you. In my case, I like the Mediterranean. And that mightn't be for everyone. Some people could choose the Galveston, but in my case, I choose the Mediterranean basically. So everybody took their screenshot.
Yes, I did.
All right. So Dr. Khan, put it back onto the normal screen, please. Thank you. Right. So I have a little challenge for you all. Folks, I want to ask a question here. What's your lifestyle like? Your lifestyle fit? What I would like you to do, why I asked you to take this screenshot, is to take the screenshot and choose one of these diets to try for the next 7 days. So that means that when you come back, next week, we can discuss, in 7 days, if it did any different, you felt any different, if it did anything positive for you, or if you would like to try something else for the next 7 days and see how it will be your fit for your lifestyle. Right? So choose one, the Galveston, the whole food plant-based, or the Mediterranean. So for the next 7 days, try it and see how your body would respond to it. So let's go now. So myth, I have a myth smash here now. Soy equals to cancer. Now, soy has gotten a bad rap over the years. But the truth, let's hear the real truth. Whole soy like edamame, tofu, miso is linked to lower breast cancer recurrence. Let me repeat again. Whole soy like edamame, tofu, miso is linked to lower breast cancer recurrences. The key is to try to avoid processed soy. Embrace it in its natural form as possible. So natural is the key. So according to Dr. Lana Charles, who is an expert in lab tests and things like that, 3 lab tests every woman over 45 should consider. Now, Dr. Lana suggests C-reactive protein, which we know as CRP, which tracks inflammation. That is what this test for. It tracks the amount of inflammation we have in our system. We have the fasting insulin, which reveals early blood sugar levels. And then we have the vitamin D, which is crucial for immune and hormone health. So what you can do when you go to your healthcare provider, you can ask them, I would like to have these 3 tests done. And if they ask you why, you can tell them just why. You want the C-reactive protein, which is the CRP. It tracks the amount of inflammation in your body. So you would know how you are eating from that time on. But if the inflammation levels are higher than usual, you would know, I need to adjust a lot of the foods and the intake I have of inflammatory food. The fasting insulin level would let you be aware of your levels of blood sugar, and you start to make adjustments accordingly. And then you have the vitamin D, which is crucial for immune and hormone health. So that is important. 3 important tests women over 45 should engage in and tell their healthcare provider that they would like to do. So let's take a walk through, let's say imaginary, but I want it vivid in your mind, of the supermarket. So walk with me to the supermarket. Let's look at produce. We're looking at color and variety. Why is color and variety important? It is important because it helps with antioxidant power. So you want some of the greens, the reds, the orange, all the various types, the purples, you know, to get into the mix there. That makes your food, give you a high variety, and it lifts or increases your antioxidant power. What about dry goods? Let's look at oats, quinoa, legumes like peas, beans, and so on, and oils and spices. Let's go and look at that as well. There's olive oil, and generally we use the olive oil for our salads. We have turmeric, which helps again with inflammation, and ginger does help as well. Very much, very good spices here. Then you're looking at your labels, your label reading. So what we want to avoid in the oils is to avoid the seed oils, which is like the sunflower and all the oils that are seed, that come from seed. The healthier oils I would like to introduce to you, or the healthier fats, I should say, the avocado, coconut, that same coconut oil our grandparents and great-grandparents used to make. Yes, natural flavors, right? So the rule of thumb, if it has more than 5 ingredients and you cannot pronounce the words, leave it alone. That is what I do. So it has more than 5 ingredients and you can't pronounce it, leave it alone. So I have another question here for Dr. Khan. It's clear that diet is just one of the pillars to reduce inflammation in our system. What other lifestyle habits play a major role in controlling inflammation during the menopausal and even the postmenopausal period? Dr. Khan?
That's a great question, Maria. And for good reason. Sorry, I'm sure everybody hear me okay. Just checking to see if everybody hear me okay. All right, so it's a great question. Now, I want to go through 6 things that will make up what are important to not just diet alone, but in order to creating a quality life, to having a healthy lifestyle. The first one is sleep. Everybody says, you gotta get quality sleep, right? You gotta get a good night's sleep because why? Why does quality sleep matter so much, especially when perimenopausal and even postmenopausal, right? Because poor sleep raises cortisol and disrupts hormone regulation. When you have poor sleep, your blood pressure goes up, you increases C-reactive proteins, your inflammatory responses go up, and all of a sudden you're more susceptible to infections, you're more susceptible to things like the common cold, and you're just having a bad day. So poor sleep really has a far-reaching effect on what it can do to your body. I mean, your concentration starts to decline and you realize you start making poor decisions on a daily basis. So what is optimized sleep then? So his recommendation is 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. And there is a definition of what is quality sleep, where it's slow wave and REM sleep all added together. Now, everybody's a little different, but optimally, for most people, 7 to 9 hours is good. For instance, I can get 6 to 7 hours and I'm good for a very long time. And every once in a while, my body will crash and I get 9 hours. But that's just how I operate. And I'm sure everybody here is a little different. But you want to aim for that window. You want to create a consistent wind down routine. What does that mean? Before going to bed, at least an hour before bed, no screens. So like even watching these screens produces a lot of blue light. Blue light keeps you awake. So an hour before bed, you want to turn off the screens or dim the screens to the lowest level. And if you can, turn off all the fluorescent bulbs and the LED bulbs that you have in your house. Those LED bulbs, as much as they save energy, that energy is transferred to you in the form of blue light. So you want to create a cool, dark room. You want to eat foods that are rich in magnesium or have a supplement that's magnesium-based. And have that a few hours before you go to bed because that helps to improve sleep. Of course, you want to limit the normal ones they always mention, caffeine and alcohol, especially before bed. Why? Because caffeine and alcohol interfere with REM sleep, a very important part of your recovery.
No.
Right? So that being said, number 2, stress management and the nervous system regulation. Right? What does that mean? If you're not managing stress, as we mentioned, like sleep, if you're stressed out, it increases chronic cortisol levels. This leads to the same problems that you encounter with sleep, right? When you trigger inflammation, you disrupt your hormonal pathways. Cortisol, insulin, estrogen all get affected, right? So you want to be trying practicing some effective mindfulness practices like breath work, taking 3 to 5 deep breaths every time you're starting to feel stressed out. Practices like yoga, tai chi, or nature walks, just going for a walk in beautiful Trinidad and Tobago where it's surrounded by nature can lead to stress relief. Walking near water, just spending 2 minutes near water has been shown to decrease your stress levels by up to 40%, just standing near a babbling brook, right? Journaling or gratitude practice. How often do you just write down, what am I grateful for today? Right? And then there's things like therapy and coaching support. So sometimes you just need emotional support, and having a therapist or having somebody you can talk to can lead to that. Number 3 on the list, regular movement, not just exercise. I'm sure you've heard about the 10,000 steps. What are 10,000 steps is not that you have to do 10,000 steps. For some people, they can get away with 6. For some people, they need to do 15,000, right? But what it's trying to tell you is get you moving more often during the day. Break up the sedentary behavior, sitting too long. Like, for instance, sitting in this session, we got to break it up a little bit, And you notice Maria is moving around. I just bought a camera that will start following me around the room so I can stand up and move around, right? It's called an AI camera. It's a small digital camera that's just like any other webcam, costs the same amount, right? So it's not just physical activity, which is important. And there are 3 different forms of physical activity, by the way, right? And by the end of this course, I want to offer you guys a special offer at the end of this event, right? So physical activity reduces inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, and boosts endorphins. Now, we don't have time to go into each of those, but I can tell you, I can speak for hours on any 3 of those topics. That's how much information there is about them. So what works best? Daily movement, walking, stretching, gardening. And as I mentioned, 7 to 10,000 steps a day, right? Strength training, do 2 to 3 hour a week, 3 days a week of some kind of combat muscle loss. I don't need to go join MMA. In other words, what you want to do is like little push-ups, little sit-ups, squats, and it can all be body weight stuff. You don't have to go for big heavy weights to do this. This is going to be all body weights. And low impact cardio, things like swimming, dancing, cycling, all important forms of exercise. And you want to avoid over-exercising because this can lead to inflammation if you don't recover well. Number 4, toxins and allergens, right? You want to control your toxins and allergens. Right? What does this mean? Right? Maria mentioned it earlier, how you have to look at packages and see how much ingredients there are in the food, right? So there's toxins all over around, and there's a lot of them in highly processed foods that exist in your own kitchen that you just don't know about, right? But as you said, if you read it and you see ingredients you can't pronounce, more than likely it's not good for you. All right? So you want to use natural ingredients. You want to use more filtered drinking water. So putting a simple filter in the water in your house. And of course, as we mentioned, limiting alcohol use and ultra processed foods is also important. And you want to go more for organic, local ingredients as much as possible, right? Number 5, purposeful connection and emotional wellness. What does it mean? having a relationship with other people. A Harvard study has been going on for more than 90 years that said the most happiest people in the world were not the richest or the poorest. They were the ones who had the best relationships with their families, relationship with friends, relationship with their significant, with their partners, with their children, right? Loneliness and emotional suppression can lead to inflammation, right? And they found that people who were very lonely had the worst back pain, although nothing was wrong with their back. And the people who had the worst things happen to their back had the least back pain because they had great relationships. And number 6, and we talk about this one all the time, smart supplementation. What supplements do you need to add to your diet, especially when you're going through perimenopause? And I'm sure you've heard Maria talk about this plenty of times. Magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids, your vitamin Ds, your K2s, right? Turmeric and probiotics for gut healing and support, right? All of these things are smart supplements that you need because this is important to maintain. And this last week we talked about why the gut biome is so important, and it's like it's the second brain to your natural health, right? So before I hand it back over to Maria, and I know I didn't mention this to Maria because I already thought about this about an hour ago. I want to do a free workshop on Thursday evening, right? From 7 to 8 p.m., where we talk about specifically how to get to a healthy weight, right? So the workshop's name is, reclaim your stress less slim down, mindful weight loss for busy women like yourselves, right? So let me share the link now. Now, as I said, 7 to 8 p.m. Thursdays, this Thursday coming up, it's just 2 days away. I'm going to share the link with you. It has a few questions in it, and this is just to give me some insights. And of course, I'm hoping Maria will be present for this. Maria went through this course with me, so she knows what the experience is like. And we will go through some of the things you can implement very easily over the hour to get you on the right track to improving your health. All right. So I'm going to share a link in the chat. Sign up Thursday. I will share it in the WhatsApp group also if you haven't joined yet, and I'll share it with Maria so she can share it with everybody here who would like to. It's free. Come on, 7 to 8 p.m. Thursday evening. And there's the link. Maria, back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. So yes, ladies, I would like to say that I restarted my health journey on that same program. And within 3 months, 3 to 6 months, let me just say 3 to 6 months, I lost 43 pounds. And I didn't do anything, extraordinary, but stayed within the healthy eating. I introduced things slowly. I had exercises introduced, slowly reintroduced that lifestyle, active lifestyle, and things like that. And it made a big difference. So I would like to encourage you all to just come on. It's free of charge, right? To come on and get your life, your health on the track that you would like to have it. You don't want just to get older with issues. You want to have a nice, healthy lifestyle as you get older and, live as long as possible. So it is a way, it worked very good for me. So it just takes that commitment that, sometimes it could be a bit challenging to us, but it's very, very, very helpful to get you on track. So I want you to meet a lady named Janine and how she transformed using what doctors introducing, the mini doc style feature. So Janine, at 53, Janine was stuck. She was bloated. She was moody. She was in pain. And she started with just one smoothie a day. That was one of the main things she did. She used that as a meal replacement. 2 months later, she was down 8 pounds. No joint pains, no more midnight sweats, and her blood works, her lab numbers improved. Her tip to us is prep your food like it's medicine, because it is. So prep your food like it's medicine. So meaning that natural, wholesome food that we are talking about. So powerful swaps. I want to give you some healthy swaps that you could introduce here. As those of you who decide to take on the diet challenge, the 7-day diet challenge. So I want to give you all some healthy swap tips. Swap white rice for quinoa or farro. I'm not particularly, I don't know farro too well, but those of you who know farro, you could swap the white rice for quinoa or farro. Swap all those sweet drinks for lemon, ginger water. Swap dairy overload for sugar-free almond or flax milk. Also add leafy greens daily to your diet. So I try very much to have a salad every day. And then spice up your life with some turmeric, garlic, and ginger. So that is our program for today. But before we leave, any question that you have, that anything that wasn't too clear to you, and you have any issues, now is the time to ask a question. Generally to Dr. Khan, because this is his baby, diet, lifestyle, eating, and all of this. So the floor is now yours, folks. Any questions, anyone? Well, that means that we did an excellent job to explain everything. Everybody understood the program, the importance of what we did tonight, what we introduced. Was it very simple, and did everyone understand? And give me a hands up. Okay, so Ms. Cook said yes. She was Ms. Rambuta said yes, it was good. Ms. Valerie said okay, very good. Yes, it was simple, they understood it. So I would like to, all right, that is basically everybody understood the topic and the importance of this type of lifestyle. And Dr. Khan, I would give you over to close off. And anything that you need to interject before we close?
So I just have a question in the group saying where am I located? I do mostly things on Zoom, but I'm working on getting a physical office set up. But contact me, you can contact me on WhatsApp, or you can call me if you want to find out more, or just come on Thursday night and join me for the live event. If you fill out the form, I will send you the recording afterwards, right? So it's an additional thing to that, but you have to fill out the form, otherwise I won't know who you are. Yes, Grace Ramater said a special diet because of RA. Very good.
Yes.
Mostly natural, but yes. Do you have any challenges with that diet, Grace? I see the big butt behind, mostly natural butt. What's the butt stand for?
I'm not hearing her.
Grace is not unmuting herself, but I don't know.
Okay, good night. Not too much to type. I don't always have the right foods, but I have to go as natural as possible because certainly not sugar. Absolutely nothing with sugar at all. Like today, I feel like eating a cake, and I grounded some dates and I made something to eat. But sometimes I flare, but I don't know why I flare because I go so natural. Yeah. So I don't know why I would flare.
Yeah, it's really identifying the foods that would cause you to flare. And sometimes it can be just this processed foods that you don't know are there. That I mean, there are a lot of chemicals, especially like pesticides and so on, are used in a lot of fruits and vegetables for you. I think washing the stuff really well is super important. As much as you go natural, washing off a lot of the pesticides and so on there might be the reason for your flare up. So it might not be like anything you're doing in particular, it's just what the food is already coming with stuff on it. Right? So that's especially foreign fruits. So those apples, grapes, to keep them preserved, they do use a lot of chemicals. Why I know this is I had a friend in medical school who couldn't even touch an apple without having his whole hands just turn bright red and start to swell. He developed an allergy to them while working in a chemical factory in Canada. And that left him susceptible to the chemicals they use to preserve and keep those apples fresh so we can get them. So he used to have to wash them quite thoroughly. Now, you might not have to go to that extreme, but it may be something to consider, and that may be causing the flare up also. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I will pay attention to washing my vegetable more.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean,
Thanks for that.
soak it in a mild soap and then wash it off afterwards. The soap won't affect you too much. And you can wash
Okay.
it off thoroughly and you should be fine. Hopefully.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem, Grace. Well, if there are no more questions, I invite you again to
Yes,
join.
Avril Cook. Just one
Hi,
question.
Avril. Come
Hi.
on. Yes.
Neville, let's see you. Let's see your face. Don't hide.
Hi.
Welcome. Nice seeing you.
Thank you. So I take meds at night. I have to take them. Well, I could take them day or night, but I prefer to take them at night because they have you sleepy and all of that. Long story short is that with that medication, I have to eat something heavy. It said take with food, else you'll be in a nauseous mess and there's a whole lot of side effects. So should I, you have any recommendations as to what I can maybe have at night or have, before I take the meds that could help? Because it's like the bread and anything heavy that could absorb that medication. So that has been my challenge from ever since. A lot of years of taking it now, and in the night I have to eat something heavy to take the medication, else I'll get sick, nauseous kind of thing. So yeah.
That's a little bit of a tough question to answer, Avril, simply because we probably need to know what medication, right?
Okay,
And
well, I take
why is it?
something
No,
called.
don't tell us here.
Okay,
We don't want to
no
expose you
problem.
like that.
No, but
But
no problem. I mean, I
but
think
if
of
you
things of helping other people with what I do, so or what I
no,
take.
but it's a bit more of a complicated question than that. Because you have to consider whether how is the meds affecting you, meaning making you need to eat such a heavy meal just to reduce the side effects, right? There's quite a bit to unpack there. So is it too much medication is something you should cut back on as you get older? Is it the right medication is something you have to switch? Some medications can cause edema or swelling of your feet. Some especially antihypertensive medications, and you may need to switch it because suddenly you start getting this edema, you gotta change medication. So there's quite a bit to unpack there. But if you want to have a one-on-one conversation, I'd be happy to chat with you on that. But
I appreciate it.
the other thing is, why do you have to take them at night? Right? And can you take them earlier in the evening is another option. Right? To see if it can help in that way, right? And also the type of foods you might be eating that late like the heavy bread and so on, might not be the best option also. That might also be contributing to why you're getting this feeling. So the type of food might not be the right ones for the medication also, and maybe an interaction going on there. So lots of there to unpack.
Most
But-
definitely.
Good, great question. A very important question. I mean, I know Maria and I have seen people coming in with these bags of medication, and sometimes they're the same medication and they're taking 3, 4 of the same pills, not realizing they're overdosing,
Wow.
right? And nobody told them that it's the same thing. And the drug names might change, and they don't realize it's the same drug, but nobody told them it was a different drug. It was the same drug, but just with a different name. So that's there. So
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
no problem. Well, it's getting late. Maria, you want to close off? And I'm inviting you, everybody, to come on Thursday. The link, I'll replace the link again in the chat so you can join us. Right? When you fill it out, you'll get the link to the Zoom. Right? The minute you go to section 2, the link for the Zoom is there. But when you fill it out, I can also send you a follow-up reminder.
So I just want to close off by just encouraging everyone to meet online with us on Thursday and join that free course that would help you to have a better lifestyle. So we're looking forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Invite a friend or 2 or 3 or 4 to come on and let's learn something together, improve together. So from Dr. Khan and myself, we want to say a pleasant good night, everyone, and we want to thank you all again for your support and for everything that the encouragement that you give us. Thanks again.